guys, Ravedge here, and today's vid is going to be the 4th installment of my updated Intro to Windwalker Monk PvP guides. This vid is going to be covering defensive gameplay. I'm going to talk about the spells, how to use them, and I guess you could say some tips and tricks about using these spells. This is going to be an in-depth look of the defensive spells, like I said, but if you were looking for offensive spells, you're going to want to look for part 3. I'm going to go ahead and just put a couple links in the vid description for part 1, 2, and 3. Part 1 was talents. Part 2 was like glyphing and gear, part 3 offensive, and then this is part 4. So, before I babble too much, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here and say, sit back, relax, and enjoy the vid. Alright guys, now like I stated at the beginning, I'm going to go ahead and cover each spell in depth. I'm going to talk about the spell readout, how I use it, and maybe a tip or trick about that certain spell that not necessarily most people would think of right away. First spell I'm going to talk about is Disable. Disable is pretty much our slow. You disable the target's movement speed, reducing their movement speed by 50%. The duration of Disable will be refreshed if the target remains within 10 yards of the monk. Using Disable on a target already snared will cause them to be rooted for 8 seconds instead. Now this is usually an offensive spell, you know, slow people down just so you can stay on them that much better. But this is also a great defensive spell if you know how to use it properly. Now, right off the bat, obviously, you go ahead and put Disable up. It's going to put the slow on the target. As you see, it's counting down. Now, what the first part of that spell readout is once it counts down all the way to 0, it will refresh the full duration of Disable. See, it's 3, 2, and 1, and back to 15. Actually, I think it started at 16, but you get the point. Now, that's great because I don't have to spend an extra 15 energy every time to keep up my snare if I can stay on my target. Now, as a defensive point of view, this isn't necessarily the slow. The slow is definitely good for helping people get away. One thing I always try and note is if you're able to slow someone and they're not able to have, they don't have a slow on the, you know, say your arena partner they're chasing down, then overall your partner will get away, you know, unless it's a Death Knight, Death Grip, or Warrior Charge. But realistically, movement speed is a definite one of the best ways to stay alive. Just avoiding damage, running around a pillar, whatnot. Now, the second part of Disable, which is a root, is, I don't think it'll last on the target dummy too long, but I'll try and highlight the spell so you can read it. Right there, Disable, rooted for 8 seconds. It cleared it off because it's a target dummy. But what that'll do there is then root the target as if it's like a Frost Nova from a mage or, you know, entangling roots from a druid. This is great, and this is where I really start to say this is definitely great for a defensive spell. Being able to root someone is amazing because of the simple fact it will stop them dead in their tracks, and then they can just get, you know, book it, or you could book it away, or your partner could, or whatnot. Another great tip or trick, I guess you could say, for this is if you have macros or you're really good with your keybinds for your Tiger's Lust, often for my healer, if it's a bit like a sticky situation, like someone's got their cooldowns popped, I will go ahead and root the target and then Tiger's Lust myself or the partner, and then they can run away, you know. That target's only going to be rooted for about 3-4 seconds, but that's enough for them to get around the pillar and away from the target. It's really that powerful. Hold on a second, I'm sorry. This is crazy. He wants me to try and do some 3s with him. I hopefully will after this vid, but I gotta get this done for you guys real quick. So, alright, but yes, that is Disable. So, it's great for the slow. If you can stay on the target, it'll keep it up, you know. But as in defensive, using it for the Disable is really great. One little thing that I feel some people don't really know right away is the second part where it says if there are any snares on the target, it will do the root effect. That does not mean only yours. If a warrior has Piercing Howl or Hamstring, or if a mage has his Frostbolt debuff, that will then count as a slow, where then you will trigger the snare from Disable when you use it again. So often people don't really notice that, and they're like, oh, it's rooted or whatnot, but sometimes I have noticed where it will be used and I don't want it to start DRing because I might need it later. Another spell for monks that will count as a slow is our Flying Serpent Kick Detonate. So when I fly over to Skull, I'm going to just use Flying Serpent Kick, land, detonate the slow, and then do disable, and it should do the root effect to the skull target dummy. As you saw it did, and then it cleared away. So, that's just a quick little thing for disable. Okay, the next one is one that I talked about in the offensive vid 3, but it's Fist of Fury. Fist of Fury, if you remember from the last one, it's just pummel all the targets in front of you, doing 37,000 to, well, actually 35,000 to 53,000 every second for 4 seconds. Damage is spread evenly over all targets. I've already talked about the damage and how that works, but now I want to talk about the defensive play on it. A lot of the times, if there is, you know, say a Hunter's Zoo or, you know, a Warrior with Rex Storm up and stuff like that, like, just heavy damage output, and they're near you, not necessarily even on you, but say your arena partner. Let's say the Skull and X are just some T2, let's say a T2 Warrior DK, okay? Crazy amounts of damage, they're able to do it really quickly. If my healer is trying to run by, doing a Fist of Fury and hitting them both will stun them for, yeah, roughly, let's just say 3.5 seconds if you land it properly. This is huge because of the simple fact that then that is 3.5 seconds where they are not hitting them, casting any spells, or anything. So they can either run LOS, they could cast a big heal, maybe pop a cooldown, and if you've played a lot of Arena, you guys will know that seconds will either save your life or cost it sometimes. So that is something huge there. Now, I talked about this in my last vid, but I wanted people to make sure they note this for the defensive outlook on it. If you use Fist of Fury on one target and say X was rogue, I didn't know where he was, but I'm going to just say I was hitting this, what would be a good thing with the rogue? Okay, you know what? DKs. They're really strong right now in 5.2. So let's say I'm just Fist of Furying the DK, and then all of a sudden the rogue pops out, and I want to stun him too. I can turn while Fist of Furying, but not moving forward. I can swivel while holding the my right mouse click, and then turning my body like this, and it will stun X. So let's go ahead and see what that would look like. And as you saw, they both were affected by the stun. One and then the other. It is like a turning cone. So as in a defensive outlook, this is a great spell to know how to use. Learn Fist of Fury inside and out. Learn when to use it as well, offensive or defensive, because it is not yet still recording. I'll contact you soon. Okay, sorry about that. Where was I? Oh, Fist of Fury. Yeah, just make sure you know when to use it. It's, you know, a lot of people are just, oh, it's great damage, go! It's great to save also that extra 10 seconds for a defensive spell if you think it might be needed at that point. Alright guys, now the next spell I'm going to be talking about is Detox. Detox is 20 energy, 8 second cooldown, 40 yard range, and it eliminates all, I think it's ailments from the friendly target, removing all harmful poison and disease effects. Now for this part, I'm actually dueling, is it PLB or PIB?
PLB.
PLB, which is actually Payliv, who's another monk and monk trainer, so big thank you for coming out to help me for this part.
Yeah.
Alright, but the main thing I want to highlight about this part, guys, is the simple fact that detoxing a DK, especially unholy from what I've seen, really cuts down their damage quite a bit. And they're going to do less damage and I believe less healing with Death Strike. Either way, you're taking less dot damage, especially when you want to run LOS and sometimes bandage up. I will portal LOS of a DK, go ahead and detox myself, and then instantly start bandaging for a little bit extra healing, because if you're bandaging with a dot, it will break the channeling effect. So hopefully, since you're only 81, I don't resist everything for 10 minutes, but try and get both diseases on me real quick.
Alright, cool.
Miss. Oh, there's one. Okay.
There we go.
Now say, oh, here, let's just say, blah, 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 I'm fighting you, okay, then I want to go LOS, detox myself, and then I can go ahead and bandage right away. Now, the simple fact of the matter is, now, it won't necessarily be that easy where then, oh, you might get away, because you might have, you know, bleeds on you or something else from other classes. But the simple fact of the matter is, against DKs and rogues as well, being able to detox every 8 seconds and clear, whether it's wound poison, I try and do it now more than ever. We'll try and detox a wound poison to then do, an expel harm for the full healing. Because if you're doing, I believe it's half, it's just really cutting down on your healing amount, guys. So try and take advantage of using expel harm. I feel a lot of monks don't really use it, some at all. So definitely look into trying to use expel harm more. I know I'm trying to, and this isn't just for you. You can do it on other people as well. I've had it before where my healer was getting locked down, and say I got a good paralysis on the rogue, I'll detox him when he's healing himself, because there you go, he gets more healing done to himself. So that's going to be covering detox. Alright guys, now the next spell I'm going to be talking about is Grapple Weapon. Grapple Weapon is a 40-yard range instant cast, 1 minute cooldown. And the spell readout is you fire off a rope spear, grappling the target's weapon and shield, returning them to you for 8 seconds. If you steal a better main hand weapon, your damage or healing will be increased by 5% or damage taken reduced by 5%. Now that second part right there, for either the 5% more damage or 5% more or less damage taken, comes down to item level. So if I have a higher item level weapon than Palev, it would give me 5% damage reduction. If he, however, had a better weapon than me, it would give me 5% more damage for the duration of the disarm. Now, in my mind, it isn't just like a straight up disarm for one target that would actually count down the debuff. This is the best one because it has a 40-yard range. Now, the only, not necessarily a glitch, but the only con I could find out about this is you have to make sure you're facing the target, which makes sense. But the simple fact of the matter is, say I wanted to peel Palev while I was just beating on this dwarf over here, I would have to turn and make sure I'm facing him to be able to do the actual spell. Now, just to show how far 40 yards is, I'm going to backpedal. I know, do not do this like ever in PvP, but let's just slowly see how far 40 yards will be.
Don't phase out.
I think I might.
Oh man.
No, we're good.
Okay.
It's right here. Wow, that's a good chunk. So I could disarm him all the way over here.
That animation is so cool.
I know. And then see, I stole his weapon. And as you can see, it's on my back. So that's just the range on that spell, which is 40 yards. Now, the simple fact of the matter is, you do have to make sure you're facing the target. So having map awareness, I guess you could say, in arena, battlegrounds, and whatnot, if I'm just over here hitting something, I need to know I can turn around and then hit my keybind for my disarm and be able to hit it on the target. Try and get it before they go LOS or something like that as well. So definitely a great spell. Know how to use it. Pretty much, I wouldn't say keep it on cooldown, but know when it's off cooldown, so when you have it, for peeling or sometimes actually doing extra damage. I'll do this to warriors just so I don't get parried for a couple seconds, or same thing with a Reddit DKs. Oh god, DKs and their parries. It makes me want to cry.
Crazy.
So yeah, that's going to be covering Grapple Weapon. Pretty simple spell, but just a couple key notes. It does have a 40-yard range, and make sure you're facing the target. Right now, I could not disarm him. It say it needs to be in front of me, so I got to turn. Even if you do a jump, turn, grab, and then turn back to where you're going. What I mean by that is, I'm going to be running this way, turn, jump, hit it, and then continue running my same direction. Hopefully without any delay of me hitting the ground. Okay, good.
360 no scope.
I know, right? But that's the thing. Also, guys, if you actually hit the cast of the spell at the 40-yard range, you can run past it. So I may cast a spell at 40 yards, and as soon as you see your little grapple weapon thing go flying out towards them, you could catch it at 60 yards away. So don't be worried about that. Well, that's Grapple Weapon. Alright guys, now the next spell I'll be talking about is Ring of Peace. Ring of Peace, if you remember, is the new level 60 talent added in 5.2, and it's a 40-yard range instant cast, 45-second cooldown. And the spell readout is forms a sanctuary around the friendly target, causing all nearby enemies within 8 yards to be disarmed and nearby enemy players unable to auto-attack. In addition, enemies who cast a harmful spell within the ring become silenced for 3 seconds. Ring of Peace lasts for 8 seconds. Now that's a mouthful, but it's got a lot of really simple, good things about it. First thing, in my mind, is the best disarm in the game because of the simple fact that it just is a disarm. It does not do a countdown. If I was to say grapple weapon payload right now, as you see, it counts down 8, 7, 6, 5. Now, if he was running a weapon chain, that would be cut down to only 4 seconds. However, Ring of Peace does not do a countdown. It is, if you are in my bubble, you are disarmed and unable to auto attack, flat out. So you can do that on multiple targets. Doing this to heavy, melee damage like Warrior Rogue, Ret Rogue, DK Warrior, stuff like that. You can completely counter them for 8 seconds where they're just doing nothing. And if you keep this spell on cooldown, it can really just help your team out, possibly guaranteeing a win almost. Now, this spell also has a second part where if I cast a spell while in, the enemy casts a spell while in Ring of Peace, they will be silenced for 3 seconds. Now I'm going to show the disarm effect on Payliv over here, and then he's going to cast Expel Harm, and he should get the silence debuff for 3 seconds. So, see how this goes. He's disarmed, unable to auto attack, and then when he expels harm, he gets silenced for 3 seconds. Now, that works as well with Chi Wave, when you're fighting face to face against an Armung. One thing I've noticed though, against DKs and DKs, Redditans, this spell is just crazy good against them. Judgments will proc the silence. DKs trying to cast a disease, death grip, anything, that will all trigger the silence. One really great thing against DKs, just a little, I guess you could say tip or trick, is if they're around like 30%, they're usually going to try and sacrifice their ghoul. If you can put up a Ring of Peace and then silence them before they get it off, they'll die. They will not be able to cast it. That's why you often see mages silence a DK when they're low on health, so they cannot cast, I believe it's called Death Pact, which will then heal them for 50% of their health. So that's just a little thing with Ring of Peace. And another great thing is, this is not only for me. I can put this on other targets. Do me a favor, Payliv. Pretend you were going to go kill this guard right here. And then I'm going to Ring of Peace him and then go up and just do Expel Harm or something. And as you see, I just saved this guard in a sense. This could be your 3v3 partner, 2v2 partner, whatever it may be. So this is a spell, get used to it, know how to use it, and it will be a great, I guess you could say, tool in your kit. So that is Ring of Peace. Alright guys, the next spells, I guess you could say I'm going to talk about, are more of our defensive cooldowns, our bigger, 2 minute and, well actually 1.5 and I believe 3 minute cooldown. First one I'm going to talk about is Touch of Karma. Touch of Karma is 20-yard range because I am using Glyph of Touch of Karma. Instant cast, 1.5 minute cooldown, and the spell readout is all damage you take is redirected to the enemy target as nature damage over 6 seconds instead of you. Damage cannot exceed your total health, lasts for 10 seconds. What that part means is it cannot do more, it cannot absorb more than what your total health pool is. Mine being 374,000, it's a good number, but at the end of the day, people can burst you still through it. Do not think you're necessarily 100% safe with it. So, like beginning of MOP, anyone who played a monk early, you would die through that against warriors and hunters because their damage was so redonkulous. But I will go ahead and show what this would be like now. Real quick, Payliv, I'll have you do a full DPS rotation, like a Rising Sun Kick, Fist of Fury, and just show how much damage it would actually do to me. I'll turn my back so I don't hopefully parry anything. Go ahead. Now, as you see, guys, I just took roughly 70% of my health in that couple seconds. You put up a Tiger Palm and then Rising Sun Kick and do a Fist of Fury. Now, I'm going to go ahead and heal myself up, and then I'm going to go ahead and do Touch of Karma before he does it all, and you'll see how much it'll absorb, and then I want to show how much damage it'll actually do to him as well. I wish there was a quicker way of healing. Oh, wait, Chi Wave. Derp, derp, derp.
Oh, yeah.
And move closer quicker. Alright, yeah, okay. Yeah, everything's off cooldown for you. Go ahead and get up your Tiger Palm first and build up 5 Chi, and then I'll do it because I don't want to accidentally blow the whole cooldown for that. Got 5 chi?
Oh yeah, gotcha. Oops. There we go. Alright, we're good.
Alright, go nuts. As you see, guys, I am taking no damage. Absorb, absorb, absorb. Now I want to see how much damage it'll actually do to him. It's not going to do necessarily a huge amount, but it's done so far, 10%. Roughly 13% damage towards him. Now that was just from one target. This could be done with multiple people. So in offensive setting, you can put this on a target when you're sitting on, you know, if I'm running healer DPS in 2s against a warlock healer and we're healing through it okay. Sometimes I'll pop it when I'm doing all my cooldowns just to get some extra damage into the warlock from the dots ticking on me and being absorbed and reflecting back onto him. Also, this spell is great to use for just, it's like my oh crap button. If I was playing a paladin, this would be my bubble. You always want to make sure you're using this at the right amount of time, and if you die in arena with a healer on your team and you have not popped Touch of Karma, shame on you. That is 100%, and you do not try and blame your healer. That is all on you. You did not do everything in your power to stay alive. So, that being said, make sure you're using Touch of Karma. It's happened to me before. Sometimes I'll get gimped. I'm like, I'm at 40%, I'm okay, and then, boom, I'm dead. I'm like, I'm like, my bad. And it will happen, so don't worry. Just try and get better at paying attention when you can use it, and make sure you note when it's off cooldown. So, that is Touch of Karma. Alright guys, the next big defensive cooldown we'll talk about is Fortifying Brew. Fortifying Brew is an instant cast 3-minute cooldown that turns your skin to stone, increasing your health by 20% and reducing damage you take by 20% as well. And it lasts 20 seconds. That's one of the key parts I, right off the bat, really like about Fortifying Brew. Not only is it a good defensive cooldown, it lasts for 20 seconds. You know, some are like 10 seconds, 8 seconds, but 20 seconds is a little bit longer. Now, this does not make you God mode. You're not invincible at this point, but it does make you quite a bit more tankier in that moment. Now, a couple things about this spell. I try and avoid popping both Fortifying Brew and Touch of Karma at the same time, because then you really have no defensive spell. If you're able to then, like, alternate between defensive cooldowns, whether you're using Ring of Peace and Touch of Karma and then Fortifying Brew, or whatever pattern would work out against whatever you're fighting, I feel you're going to have better survivability because, you know, maybe they come to burst you in a minute and then, oh look, this one's up, you pop this one, or vice versa. However, there are certain times where I will pop everything at once almost because you're going to take a lot of damage. Like there was I think in my 2v2 vid, where a Ret Hunter just instantly opened on me and did crazy amounts of damage. Like I dropped to like 100k like that. So I popped everything, and then it made me really tanky. I was taking no damage, got healed up to full, and then for another like 10 seconds after I was healed up to full, I was taking 20% more damage, and at that point I was able to dish out enough damage where we won the fight in the long run. So that's what my first notes about it is. What the spell looks like is actually, well, I'm going to want you to be hitting on me. First, go ahead and do one of your rotations again so we'll see how far it brings my health down. Dude, it's like your Fist of Fury, only crits. Pretty much, yeah, almost 80% of my health. So that was 80% on just like a pretty simple rotation. I'll do the I'll do the same thing again after I put Fortifying Brew. Bandages, so good. They heal so much. Okay. Alright, now on this one I'm gonna go ahead and pop Fortifying Brew and then do the same thing if you can again, alright? Alright, go ahead. Now, as you saw, guys, it boosted my health pool to 450,000. Now, granted, I took no crits there, but he only did 30% of my health pool on that. 20% flat-out damage reduced is a lot, straight across the board, and it also boosted my health pool by quite a bit as well. So, Fortifying Brew is definitely one of those defensive spells you really want to pay attention and know how to use. Hold on, let me build. I need one sec. Because I'm actually going to go into my next defensive spell real quick. The next one we'll talk about is Healing Elixirs. Healing Elixirs is a passive effect. It's the level 75 talent. And every 18 seconds you gain Healing Elixirs, which is this buff up here. Looks the same thing like the talent does. And then causing your next brew or tea to also heal you for 15% of your total health. So go ahead and hit me a couple times, you know, take away like 30% of my health. Alright, there we go. Now, if I do Fortifying Brew, it's going to heal me for, the number is actually 56,000. As you saw there, it healed for a good chunk. So that's 56,000 healing on an 18-second cooldown. Now, mine is actually back up again because of the simple fact that I had the buff so long. And I think Energizing Brew does proc it as well. Let's go ahead and check that. I gotta be in combat. That's such an annoying part about that spell. Yep, and Energizing Brew pops it as well. So, you know you can do either or if for the heal as well, guys. So, pay attention to the buff. I think I'm actually going to add that into my debuff filter, put it as a smaller one off to the side so I can easily keep track of when I have it up. Because against physical damage classes, popping your brew every time to heal will really, really surprisingly keep you up that much better. So,
I wonder if it works with Nimble Brew as well.
Nimble, I'm not 100% sure. Here, actually do some damage to me because I don't know if it's one of those spells that won't heal me unless I've taken some damage. Go ahead and Fist of Fury me.
Gotta get the chi, okay. There we go.
No. I didn't see a heal.
Shame.
That'd be too OP. So, yeah, because I only remember really seeing with Energizing Brew, but Nimble I probably wouldn't even have caught at that point. So, that is how Healing Elixirs works. And I'll go ahead and cut it off here and then go to the next bit. Alright guys, the next, I guess you could say, two spells we'll talk about are more like utility, not necessarily like they're meant for defensive, it's just they have a defensive purpose as well. First one we'll talk about is Paralysis. Paralysis is, if you remember, it's one of our main CCs. It paralyzes the target for, I believe it's 6 seconds in PvP, and it will be 4 seconds if you're in front of them, 6 seconds if you're from behind. It's a 20-yard range, instant cast, 20 energy cost, 15-second cooldown. Any damage taken will cancel the effect. So if you have a dot on the target or someone else hits it by accident, it will break the effect. Now, this is good for stopping people from, you know, trying to kill your healer or even on yourself. If I paralysis him right now, 6 seconds where he can't do anything, you know, I can dance, I can do whatever, because the simple fact that he was CC'd for that bit. Another thing I like to use Paralysis for is, say, you know, you used your Spear Hand Strike and you got Pump Faked, which means, say, someone went to cast a heal and then stopped, and then you used the Interrupt, and then, oh look, now it's on cooldown, now they think they can heal themselves. If he was to go ahead and try and heal himself again, I will go ahead and Paralysis him if I don't need it for the CC to stop his casting. So, he won't have anything in that sense, and this is usable in 20 yards. You can use it up to 20 yards, so it does have a range on it. 20 yards, once again, backpedaling, don't flame, would be right here. So, that whole distance, Paralysis. Now, that was DR'd because I've been doing it to him too much, but yeah. So, make sure you're not DR'ing it. It will DR every, I believe, 20 seconds. You gotta wait for it to actually reset, so I'll wait 5 seconds after that one. I'm probably actually going to wait more than 5 because I probably count too fast in my head.
Dance time.
Yeah. See, and then once again, full duration Paralysis. So, that was the first one I wanted to talk about, and the next one I want to talk about is Spear Hand Strike. Spear Hand Strike is melee range, instant, 15-second cooldown. You jab the target in the throat, interrupting their spell cast and preventing any spell in that school from being cast for 5 seconds. Now, if you just do it when you're facing the target, not only would it interrupt any current spell, but it would do a blanket silence onto him for 2 seconds. What that means with the blanket silence is, even if Palev is not casting, I can go ahead up to him, and if I'm facing him, spear... Oh, dodge, really? Oh...
Dodge? Oh, come on. That is a shame.
But he'll get a debuff where he'll count down 2 seconds where he cannot cast. Let's see if this will work. Come on. There you go. See the debuff? It used to be 4, but it was a little too OP in Blizzard's eyes, so they nerfed it down to 2 like every other one. So be it. However, the main thing is you want to try and use this for an interrupt, but it is not a bad idea to defensively go ahead and just blanket silence. I will blanket silence mages all the time in arena because I don't want them to be blinking or, you know, casting a frost bomb, iceland spam, or any of that. I want to just be able to try and stop as much of their damage as much as I can. So I try and use the Spear Hand Strike blanket silence as much as possible. Alright guys, now the last part I'm going to be talking about is our actual heals. Now as a Windwalker, if you're running Healing Elixirs talent, you have Healing Elixirs, which is 1, Chi Wave, which is 2, Expel Harm, which is 3, and then our Healing Spheres, which is 4 ways of healing yourself, and also if you run First Aid, 5. So we do have a bunch of ways to heal ourselves, but they're kind of, I'm not going to say time requirement, but you got to know when to use them and when not to use certain ones. For instance, if I'm just fighting Palev face to face, I doubt I'm going to stand here and then start, oh, I'm going to just Healing Sphere as we're fighting. Bad idea. Very bad idea. It's draining your energy, you're not auto-attacking and doing any of that. At this point, if you're fighting, especially in a melee up front, Chi Wave is your best friend. Because of the simple fact that as I'm damaging him, I can go ahead and Chi Wave, and look, it's healing for 20k a tick on me and doing damage to him of 12k a tick. Between that one Rising Sun kick and a Chi Wave in my auto attacks, that was 70% of his health. Now, he's doing Healing Sphere, because that is what actually seems to, I guess you could say, best heal us when we're out of like a combat situation. You know, if you port LOS, Healing Spheres are definitely a good thing to use. But right now I'm going to be talking about the Chi Wave part. Chi Wave, it bounces and does healing and damage. Now, when it hits a person, it does damage, and when it does healing, it does it to you. Now, when it's green, it's healing, and when it's red, it's doing damage. So as I shoot out, it goes red, then green, red, then green. Now you see how it's healing at okay pace, but kind of slow. If I'm closer to him, it will heal faster. So in those melee situations, like right in someone's face, you can actually heal yourself pretty quickly. I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of damage. Hopefully don't kill myself. Okay. Say I'm up this close, and then I go Chi Wave. That just healed me pretty quickly. It did all the stacks really fast. Now, I don't know what happened to my... Oh, that's when I reformatted. I lost all my macros. That was so annoying. Chi Wave. A macro I often use, which I guess you're going to see right now, is a Chi Wave macro that will slash cast bracket target equals whatever your name is. Did I spell it right? Yes. Spell my own name. Herp. Chi Wave. Now what this is doing is when I cast Chi Wave, it will guarantee do the heal first before the damaging effects. So I will get 4 parts healing, 3 parts damage. So as you saw, healed and did all that right there, no problem. So Chi Wave is definitely one of my favorite heals to use. But at the simple fact is, you have to know when to use it. If you get out of the 20-yard range, it will stop the heal. So say, I believe the cast is 40 yards. So I could be all the way back here. And yeah, sure, I could Chi Wave. All it did was just heal me because it did not shoot all the way over to him. So what I want to show you is, the simple fact of the matter is it healed me first before going to him to do damage because of my macro. However, if I was to say be running around and cast Chi Wave and then go out of range of it, it's not going to come bounce all the way back to me over here. You have to make sure you're in range of it. So if you're just kiting someone or running away, this isn't necessarily a spell you have to know how to keep in the range, like almost like a dead zone, where okay, say he was snared and not able to keep up to me, I can just do this and keep in the range of it, and it's going to heal me and keep doing damage to him. So that's the rough outlook of Chi Wave. Play around with it, get used to it, and see what you like to do with it most. The next one, which I feel is one of our bread and butter heals, is a 40 energy cost called Expel Harm. And it instantly heals you for 36,000 to 52,000 and causes 50% of the amount healed to instantly be dealt to a nearby enemy as nature damage within 10 yards, and it generates 2 chi. So this is great for building chi also, and it's a pretty hefty heal. So, and the thing is though, for it to do damage, you have to actually heal yourself. If you're at full health and you popped it, it would not do any of the damage. So I'm near him, gonna go ahead and Expel Harm, and it did 8,000 damage to him and healed me for 43k. 43, really?
Nice.
Yeah, it was 43. Okay, I'll take it. So yeah, that's Expel Harm. And honestly, when I'm running away from people, I'm usually spamming that, even if it's on cooldown for like 2 or 3 seconds, because it's such a big heal, and it will crit heal for quite a bit. So that's Expel Harm. The next one, since I already talked about Healing Elixirs, I'm going to show you, is Healing Sphere. Healing Sphere is a spammable spell that just puts a Healing Sphere on the ground. When you run over it and you're missing some health, it'll heal you. You can have 3 out at a time, and if you don't use them within, I think, how long?
I think they made it 30 seconds in 5.2. Could be wrong.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds right. I think it was a minute before. But now, when they say 30 seconds goes by, or the minute, however long it may be, they will disappear and then heal you for 50% of the amount. So usually in Arena, I will try and set up my Transcendence LOS and drop some healing spheres underneath it. Now, the reason I do this is, say Payliv, just go ahead and knock me down to like 10%. Just go nuts. Don't kill me, though.
I'll try.
Rising Sun Kick, 200k. Teach me, master.
Here we go.
Okay, so say Harry situation. I'm like, I gotta get out of here. It's never a bad idea to go Paralysis and then Transcendence out of here. And I landed right on my healing spheres, and they all just healed me. So I got some health back from that, and then I can go ahead and healing sphere some more and just spam it on top of myself. However, at this point, since as an energy cost, if you have the energy, do Expel Harm first, because it does heal for more. So, look at that. 64,000 heal with Expel Harm. Awesome. So right there, I'm pretty much caught back up. Now, just to show how much a monk can heal, I'm actually going to... let's see if I can do this. I'm going to drop healing spheres here. Okay. Go ahead and do damage to me right here. So what I'm going to do is have him try and get me as close to dead as possible.
Alright.
Alright, good.
Oh, no, not the dot, not the dot.
No, nope, you're good.
Okay.
Alright, now what I'm going to do is go ahead and run over my healing spheres. Come a little bit closer to me, because I'm a Chi Wave as well. I'm going to run over healing spheres, Expel Harm, and Chi Wave. So he had me pretty much dead, and I got 50% of my health back there without having to spend, spam any other spells. And I could actually right now do Energizing Brew as well. And if I had the Tiger Eye Brew stacks built up, I could have that ready then again too to use another Healing Elixirs proc. So without any crits, that did heal for quite a bit. With crits, I have been able to take myself from low health to pretty much high. So, know how to use that and get used to knowing what healing spells to use at what time. A lot of the times, people really underestimate it where, say, you're at half health. They'll want to use all their heals and then pop Touch of Karma. No! Don't do that. I'll explain why. Payliv, go ahead and hit me to like half health. Alright, now I'm going to Touch a Karma and then continue damaging me, but I'm going to pop my healing spells and show that, guys, at this point, you're taking no damage, but then you're taking the full healing effects. Alright, go ahead. And would you look at that, guys, the whole duration, he took damage and I got healed up. Now, it just faded, but I could easily then Chi Wave again. And Shabba! Healing. Oh, your healing sphere spamming. I'm like, wow, that either did 2k damage or you absorbed it.
Saved by the sphere.
Exactly. So, once again, as in healing priority when you're lower on health, as in what will heal you the most, in an LOS situation, expel harm, then healing sphere. If you're in someone's face, expel harm, then chi wave. Healing sphere is meant to be used away from people or when kiting, getting around corners and whatnot. So mess around with it, see what you like. I've honestly learned a lot from when I was watching vids, like, oh, I could actually have done this, or I should make sure I'm using this on cooldown more. Practice makes perfect. Palev, when you started your monk, was it necessarily easy reversing a lot of melee classes, or did it take a little bit of getting used to, but once you got it, it's now cake?
Fairly regular if you kept chi wave up, but now with the cooldown, it's just kind of, good.
Well, it's the thing, it was like, it took you a little bit to figure out, okay, I gotta do this, and then it's just mess around, BG, have fun with it, and I guarantee you will obviously all see an improvement of whatever you're doing. If you're even PvE, messing around, knowing your rotation inside and out, you'll have all that much more fun with it, and probably more efficiently do your role. So, that will be the healing part of this, guys, so I will cut it off here and then jump right into the next bit. Alright guys, now the last two spells I'm going to be talking about real quick are Zen Meditation and Nimble Brew. These are pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to cover them real quickly. First thing is Zen Meditation, and that is a channeled spell, 3-minute cooldown, reduces all damage taken by 90% and redirects to you up to 5 harmful spell casts against party and raid members within 30 yards, lasts 8 seconds. Being the victim of a melee attack will break your meditation, canceling the effect. This is really good to use against Wizard Cleaves in Arena or against Mage Burst or whatnot. There's been times before where if I know his Deep Freeze is on cooldown and a Mage will get me Frost Nova'd, he'll start casting a Frostbolt like for a Shatter or Frost Bomb and go for a Shatter. I'll just Zen Meditation and know that I'm taking 90% less damage on it. This, however, will also redirect counter spells that would be cast on your healers and stuff like that. It is a short, I guess you could say, duration, but it is definitely something that will save you and your partners a lot more. Get used to using a spell, know how to use it inside and out. It is a 3-minute cooldown, so it is a little bit lengthy, but it's definitely something you should look into. The next one is Nimble Brew, which is instant cast, 2-minute cooldown, and it clears you of all root, stun, and fear effects, and reduces the duration of future such effects by 60% for 6 seconds. Nimble Brew can be cast while stunned or feared. This is the anti-Warlock, Shadow Priest, and any stuns. Monk stuns, Fist of Fury, which, don't really trinket it because you're just going to get stunned again. But, Rogue Kidneys, Shockwaves from Warriors. We finally have the second trinket we needed. However, the next part where it says reduces duration of future such effects by 60% for 6 seconds, that's like a double diminishing return. What that means, the simple matter of fact is, say if Palev was a rogue who did a 6-second cheap shot, or not 6 second. They can do a 6-second kidney now, though, right? Or a really long kidney.
Yeah.
Okay, here, we'll do it this way. Fearing on a priest. How many times have you guys trinketed a fear from the priest and then his pet feared you? I guarantee it's happened. I hate it.
It's Fiend.
Exactly. So, with this spell is, if you get feared and you pop this, and then the Fiend fears you, it would only be half duration of what it would normally be. Or actually a little bit more. It would only be 40%. So this is one of those spells that is definitely what was needed, but really makes us that much more deadly in Arena. So, however, this is not a trinket. It does not break all effects. It won't break Sheep, Sap, what else? Hex, stuff like that. It only breaks fear and stuns. So in Arena, say you're against a, let's just say Mage Rogue. Do not use your trinket to break a stun, because then you're going to eat a full blind and you can't trinket out of it. However, you could have Nimble Brewed out of the stun and then had your trinket for a sheep or a blind. So make sure you're using the right spell at the right time. So that's those last two spells, and I think there's one more I want to talk about real quick. Alright guys, now the last spell I'm going to talk about is, you've already seen it earlier in the vid, but that's Transcendence. Transcendence is where you, what Pele just did, you drop a, you could say spirit form of yourself, where then that is my teleport point. Now, say me and Pelev were over here fighting, and I'm in trouble, and he's just beating the crap out of me, and I want to get away from him. I will then hit Transcendence Transfer, which is a half-second cast for 15 energy. Oops, right here. And voila, I am all the way over here. Now, however, notice that my Transcendence, like, portal part is not here. It is now where I casted it from before. It will do this chain effect of switching places, so you need to pay attention to that. Often, sometimes, I will lay this early in arena, like where I would want to transfer to, and then after I use it, I will often try to relay it in that same area or around that area, so it's once again LOS. So now if I hit it again, it's going to teleport me where I was, and then set it up again where I casted it from. So that's Transcendence. Mess around with it, see how much you like it, and another thing is try using your healing spheres underneath it, so then when you do pour, if you're missing some health, it'll just heal you up. So I'll show that real quick though. Blah blah blah, blah blah blah, and voila. So that's Transcendence. Alright guys, now I'll wrap up this vid. Special thank you, Pelev, from Monk Trainer, actually, in the guild, and long-time subscriber. You've been there since before 250?
Yeah.
I thought so, yeah, because I remember you commenting a video a long time ago or whatnot, but before I babble too much with that. Big thank you to you. Thank you for helping with those other spells where I can actually then show other than a target dummy.
Yeah, right.
But, real quick, guys, gonna be trying to stream more. I've been busy with school and whatnot, and lots and lots of more PvP. I think Monk Trainer is like level 24. We're almost 25, so we're like 1 bar away in XP. So that'll be 25 probably by the time this vid is up. And thanks for sticking around for the whole 40-minute video, guys. Sorry it was a little bit long, but there's a lot to cover for defensive gameplay in a monk. If you did like what you saw, please like, fave, and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. And this is Ravedge saying thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the BGs.